career growth opportunities. That's good.
In that research, it was actually a tie. People want to invest and they're motivated in their personal brand for two main reasons: career growth and personal fulfillment. And a lot of people chose personal fulfillment because they feel like they have some value to share and provide impact to their friends, colleagues, the rest of the world. And friends, that's why we're here today. We're here to talk about how you can build your brand in 5 steps. Donna and I will share our story, we'll share our journey, but more importantly, talk about tips and tricks and things that we did and we're continuing to do that you can definitely take advantage of. So Donna, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, thank you so much for being here. For some of you looking for seats, there's a few in the front. We promise not to call on you. I promise not to call on you. We don't know about him. My name is Dona Dux. I'm a software engineer at Microsoft, currently leading advocacy for a power platform, which if you ask me about power platform, I'll talk to you for 35 minutes about it. I'm also, on the side, a fashion designer. I have my own fashion house. I'm wearing my own creation. I'm pretty much always wearing my own creation because they have pockets. Can I get it? Yeah, from the ladies.
I'm from the men, not the carrier.
The men are like, don't understand the question. Cool. I'm a published author. I write books for teenage girls, which is the same as writing for tech execs. So, yay. Short attention span, very short attention span. And I, for the last few years, have been focusing heavily on what does it mean for tech people to build up a personal brand? Does that mean you Instagram lunch every day? Does that mean you tweak would-be things? Does that mean you write code samples? The answer is yes or no. It completely 100% depends on you. Thank you very much for inviting me here today.
All right, thank you, Donna. And as for me, my name is Dux, and yes, that's my real name, my first name. As you may imagine, had a hard time growing with that name. Got my ducks in a row now. Tough crowd.
They're Brits, they're laughing loudly on the inside.
So I serve as the CMO of AppPoint. If you're thinking, what's a marketing dude doing at a tech conference? I'm actually an accidental marketer. I actually finished my degree in computer science. I started my job as an assembler programmer back in the mid-90s. Who knows about assembler? If you did not raise your hand, you weren't born yet. And throughout my journey in the last 18, 19 years, it's just been amazing. I've learned so much around tech, but as I grew my career, I progressed. I worked with a lot of people from technologists to business decision makers in the span of those 18, 19 years. I'm originally from the deep south, Manila, Philippines. And I'm an immigrant to the United States. And from that experience, I've learned so much. And I've gained so much from a lot of people. And hence, this is part of what I enjoy doing, paying it forward, sharing what I've learned, and more importantly, encouraging and hopefully lifting people up so that they can grow and be successful as well. I've written books on SharePoint. I contribute a lot to Microsoft in terms of content around Office 365, Microsoft Teams, and modern workplace. And I'm very passionate about giving back and being able to, like I said, pay it forward. In my career, I had the great opportunities of meeting wonderful people, traveled to a lot of different places, met Gwen Stefani, but again, this is still the best experience I'm having sharing this stage with Donna. So with that, let's talk about this, right? So first, let's talk about what personal branding is not. So Donna, let's get this, make this clear for everyone.
A lot of people feel weird about personal branding. They say it feels icky. It feels self-promoting. It feels like it's about me. And it's a fad. This is a thing we talk about now in 2019, 2020, and will die out. Or it's for celebrities, or it's for influencers or people in the public eye. In fact, personal brand is none of these. And if you think of someone as having personal brand around these things, it means they're doing it wrong. It means they're doing it wrong. Personal brand, in my opinion, is all about using your skills to create value for other people. That's it. Because every single one of you have skills. If you didn't, your boss would not have sent you to Ignite. And those skills that you have, you worked very hard to gain. So to keep them only for you or just for your team is actually an act of pretty selfish behavior. So why would you not go out and share them with other people who may not be as lucky or as experienced as you? So that is how I think personal brand, the sharing of knowledge.
And absolutely, I love that definition. Personal brand is being able to provide value based on what did you say again?
I don't know. I said it once.
But it's all about others. It's all about giving back. So if your intent, point number one, if you're here, you're like, oh, I want to be insta famous. It's all about me. Then you're in the wrong place.
Session. We
Yeah,
can't
wrong
teach you
session,
to be
right?
famous.
So that's not what personal branding is all about. Now, why is this important, right? We kind of talked about this earlier already when we did that quick survey, what the industry survey says. So personal branding is essential because it unlocks opportunities, establishes credibility, it expands your network, and furthers your career. So case in point, let me tell you my story. So when I started my career as an assembler programmer for a small company, a small German company called Siemens, and at that time I thought it was small, mid 90s. So, and then I left, and well, actually I didn't leave. They made me leave because I messed up one sale and it was bad. So anyway, but I left, so I started my own business. I was a consultant, and we were doing services around SharePoint. And I was really good at SharePoint. I can deploy SharePoint, I can write web parts, I can do all this fancy stuff. I thought that was enough. But guess what? Running a business and people hiring you and being good at SharePoint, they're all different things. So it was hard for me to get business. And it's not like I had endless money to start marketing myself and buy my services, right? So I'm like, okay, what should I do? What should I do? People want to buy, they don't want to be sold to. So somebody told me, go write a book. So I'm like, I've never written a book in my whole life. I actually flunked English a couple times. So I'm like, if I'm going to write a tech book, I'm going to write for the best tech book company out there, O'Reilly Media. I don't know if you guys remember O'Reilly, those animal books. So I just sent my thing in, I filled out a form. You don't have an idea. The irony is, at that time, SharePoint is being marketed as to empower business users, right? But all the content, all the books around SharePoint is very technical. You know, how to set up SharePoint, how to deploy servers, build web parts. I'm going to write a business-focused book around SharePoint. I'm going to call it SharePoint for Project Management. So I sent that in, because at that time I was also running a project management organization, a PMO, so I do have PM experience. And they loved the idea, wrote a book, right? So I wrote a book. But then it's still not enough. My editor said, you know, writing a book is one thing, but you have to promote it and build your brand. I go, how do I do that? You start writing publicly, you start speaking at conferences, because it will unlock opportunities. So I would have to thank O'Reilly Media for kind of showing me the light around all this. So they did. They connected me with events. I started speaking. So from that on, I got business, established my credibility. Oh, you're the SharePoint for Project Management dude, right? So that's how it evolved. And then expanded my network. Fast forward to today, it helped me a lot in my career. But all throughout that journey, it's not about, look at how cool I am. It's about, here's how you use SharePoint for project management. 5 steps. When you're doing agile projects, here's how you use SharePoint for it. Oh, you're doing waterfall model? It's all about giving. Y'all with me?
Yeah.
See that southern accent coming out?
It did. Okay. Deep South. Manila. So I think of personal branding is not about making yourself look good or look smart, but helping your audience feel good and feel smart. That's all. And that's all. So for years, I've been working inadvertently on my personal brand. I used to be a software engineer on the Windows team. That means that they didn't let me out of my office other than to go do an architecture review. Until one day, a university called and said, will you come lecture in our operating systems class on what you do all day? And I said, no, because that involves talking in front of people. And I don't talk in front of people, I talk to code. And they said, well, we've already made posters, so you're coming and doing it. And I said, oh my God, you made posters, now I have to do it. So I show up terrified, give this talk on what I do all day, and I got maybe 100 emails from students saying, I never thought operating systems were interesting or entertaining, or I'd ever want to work on one. Will you make it sound almost okay? And I'm like, almost okay? This is my dream, right? I want to be almost okay at stuff. So since then, I've been writing about operating systems, talking about operating systems, lecturing about operating systems. If you come and talk to me, you're going to get a big speech about operating systems. So for me, personal brand has directly impacted my career and brought me opportunities I never would have had sitting in my office writing Windows code all day.
So with that,
Yes.
we're going to go through the 5 steps that both of us
Did independently. We
Did-
only met recently.
we didn't meet recently.
Like 5 years ago.
Okay, all right.
But compared to you've had your brand for like 20 years.
Yeah,
So-
I'm old. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. So we did oddly the same 5 steps in different and various ways.
Okay, step 1. All right. To build your personal brand, you got to identify and harness your superpower. You know, when I was building my brand, so I got into the scene, I started speaking at Microsoft events. You know, I'm the SharePoint for project management dude, and I realized that's not enough. Because if I go on an Ignite like this, a lot of great speakers, how do I stand out? Right? How do I become unique? So beyond just being the SharePoint for project management person, I started going into the details around, okay, how do you do Agile and Scrum and Waterfall? How do you apply it when you're doing marketing projects? So very specific. So that's one. And second is you got to be authentic and credible. You don't have to be perfect. People think, oh, if you're a thought leader or an influencer, you got to be picture perfect. No. Look at us. Look at us.
We don't know anything. What is a thought leader? I hate that word.
No clue. Have some thoughts.
They thought or something, and then they talked about it somewhere. Yeah.
And the other part being authentic, and this is very important. A lot of people sometimes ask me, Dux, how do you separate your work life and your personal life so people won't know about your personal life? I go, you have one life, right? You have one life. You have to be authentic. Unless you're hiding something that you don't want people to know about, people can Google you. There's no point. So unless you're ready, and I'm not saying you should talk everything about your personal life, but just be authentic. Yeah? The third point here, which is important, is you have to hone your communication skills. So my story at Siemens was true because I was an assembler programmer. Like Donna mentioned, I only worked with code. I didn't like speaking. I didn't like presenting. I didn't like going to sales calls. They took me to a sales meeting, and it was really bad. I was really bad, and we lost the business. But that encouraged me to say, you know what? I want to be the best speaker there is out there. I want to be the best communicator there is out there. It took me 15, 16 years. I studied it. I practiced it. I have a formula for it, and I share it. I do a lot of talks on how do you hone your public speaking skills, and I share all my formulas and tactics. There's people who reach out to me on LinkedIn and say, hey, can you check my presentation? I'm about to do this pitch. I go, I'd be happy to. So if you all are interested, I'm happy to do it. And you can find all this stuff online.
Yeah. So that's us. But think about yourself.
Yeah.
What are your superpowers?
So to model it for you, right? So for me, when I think about my superpower, or what I want to focus on, is today, I want to share knowledge, everything I've collected and learned in the last 18 years. I'm an irreverent tech executive. I'm not your typical tech person, which we'll talk more about later. And then third, which is very important to me, I want to make sure I pay it forward. I want to make sure that as a result of what I share, the knowledge I've learned, the networks I've made, I can help other people out. What about you, right? So here's what I want you to do, friends. Right now, on your phone, on your website, go to this, or on your computer, go to this website, sli.do, enter this code. Tell us one thing you want to be known for. It's GDPR compliant. We're not going to capture your name. We're just... I have to use that disclaimer.
You got to use the marketing and stuff. It's pretty good. There's a lot of homework in the session. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Because I want to capture what you want to be known for. And be as specific as you can be. Now, don't think it has to be tech. It can be anything that you're really good at, you want to be known for, you want to teach others, you want to share others this information. Again, go to this website, enter this code, tell us one thing you want to be known for.
And think about it in terms of not just what you are known for, but what you want to be known for. Many people put down what they are known for. Like, I'm good at SharePoint development, or I'm good at washing cars. That's good, that's fine. Is that what you want to be known for? No. What if there's something about you that you wish you did more of? Right? What if you're amazing at UI? What if you're a great speaker? What if you're a good writer? What if you're really good at building Power Apps? What if you're really bad at Excel but good at tweeting? It's a matter of just figuring out what you want to be known for.
All right, we're good. So let's see what people put down.
Let's see.
So here. All right.
Getting shit done.
Okay, hold on.
How to blag
Hold on.
it
I made it full screen so
okay,
we can see better. Okay.
What does blag it mean? Oh, make shit up. Okay, make shit up.
How come it's not?
There's
Okay,
a lot
here
of
we
people
go.
who make shit up. Okay.
Okay.
Getting shit done. How to blag it at work. Amazing cup of tea. Good.
Awesome.
And a ninja, of course.
Positivity,
Good.
problem solver.
Being a damn nice guy. Love it. Retro gaming. Power platform data quality. Don't know yet. Making interesting
Problem,
stuff.
AV, PowerShell, great community leader, honest, reliable, power.
Skiing.
Skiing, awesome.
Being a guitarist in an Iron Maiden video.
Genuine. Awesome, right?
Look at this.
See?
Seeing the bigger picture.
We already done step one.
I work with someone whose greatest superpower is being the biggest Star Trek fan in the world.
Yeah.
So
So
whatever
now,
your goal is,
yeah.
it's possible.
So Donna, now they figure out their superpower. What's next?
So once you figure out your superpower, now it's time to figure out who the heck is your audience. And keep in mind, this doesn't have to be at a tech conference. We just happen to be at a tech conference talking to this. When I think about your audience, it completely depends on which superpower you're talking about. So my unique superpower is being an and. So it's that intersection of being a tech nerd and a fashion designer and an author. So when they come together, it means a weird job that no one does, but there's a bunch of weird skill sets. So I can go to fashion conferences and talk about how to use 3D visualization or Power Platform to build stuff. When I'm at tech conferences, I can talk about how do I use things from my fashion line to build real tech for real people. So I've always got an example of a company without revealing customer data to show examples of. And being a fiction writer is kind of useful because you need to make shit up, right? All the time. All the time. The software engineer is 100% making shit up. So it comes down to fiction writing. So you have to know that audience, whichever audience you're talking to. Once you know your audience, and you have to be very specific. Where does your audience go to learn? Do they read about it on Twitter? Do they read about it on Instagram? Do they read newspapers physically? Do they hear about it from friends? And what language do they use? So you have to convey your message and your learning in the language of your audience, not your language, but the language of your audience. So here's an example of, at Microsoft, I was working on a program to help entrepreneurs in Africa use technology to start and run their businesses. So I had to change all my language. I couldn't be talking about the Windows kernel or any of the things I talked about. We had to switch all of our language to be business focused. We had to say, how do you do rapid prototyping of your idea? What is the MVP you want to ship to people? How are you going to test that MVP with 50 customers to get customer feedback so you can iterate your idea? How are you going to ship? How are you going to seek funding? These aren't software engineer words, but I have to learn to speak their language to be able to be heard with them. And this was in context of a whole other country. So we had to stay away from American ideas of entrepreneurship. So you have to first know your audience very well, and two, learn their language.
All right, so you identify your superpower, know your audience. The next important step is you have to deliver consistent value.
Yep.
You cannot think of building your personal brand only when you come to conference or once a year when you feel like it.
Yep.
Right?
This is a consistent thing, so it's consistent value. Now, one thing everyone can tell is inauthenticity. So if you truly want your personal brand to be focused around a certain audience and providing value to that audience, you have to constantly think about how you can do that on a daily basis and a weekly basis. So for me, if I want to provide value to entrepreneurs or to tech people, I always have to know what is the latest and greatest thing that's out there. How can they use it in their day-to-day lives, and then create examples. Right now, I do advocacy for Power Platform, and my special shtick is entrepreneurship. So what should I be doing? I should be constantly creating apps, constantly creating chatbots, using Power Automation, using my business as an example, so that anyone else out there who is starting or running a business can use my code samples or my ideas to further their own thing. It's constantly adding value to what other people are doing.
So these are just some examples of the different channels that's out there. We're not going to say, oh, you have to be on all of them. One of the things you have to consider as you deliver consistent value, where your audience is, right? So for example, for me, I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and I show up on these events. I write publicly, and I also, if I can, speak at user groups. So those are my channels. Now, how do I distinguish those? LinkedIn is where customers are. I work for AppPoint. I need to be on LinkedIn to be front and center with my customers. Twitter are a lot of where my peers are, where Zach is, where the industry folks are. So I want to be engaged and connected with my industry colleagues. Instagram, I travel so much that I just love taking pictures and sharing, nice scenes where I am, and that's okay. That's me. But at the same time, I have fantastic opportunity to write. So recently, I wrote a blog post for the Microsoft partner blog around diversity and inclusion, how you can start in your company. And then for Donna, Instagram, you use it for your fashion house, right?
That's right. So for all of you with the question around how do you differentiate social media for your life, I'm actually extremely particular about it, where I talk about tech on Twitter, I talk about career advice on Instagram, and I talk about career advice on LinkedIn, and I talk about fashion on Instagram, and that's it. They almost never cross streams. So I used to get a lot of nonsense on my Instagram from tech people saying, how come you never talk about Microsoft? I said, because I don't. And when you're clear, you just have to be extremely clear and set expectations, and you do that using the bio and with the content you create. So you need to be clear in your head which channels you're going to use. And you don't have to use all three of these. A lot of people say, what's a good place to start if I have nothing? And I say, it depends on your skill set. If you're amazing at visuals and if you're a graphic designer, UX person, Instagram is your friend. If you're a person who's kind of clever and can be short with words, then Twitter is your friend. If you're someone who prefers long form writing, then Medium or LinkedIn are your friend.
In fact, let me pull up one of the recent posts you did in terms of career advice.
Oh dear.
All right. So this is, I think this is something that.
I like emojis.
Yeah, Shauna posted on Twitter, right? She was saying how life-changing impact the chat you had, and then you shared this conversation on LinkedIn, but you provided some advice. But more importantly, what I love about what you post on LinkedIn is you always give people homework.
Always get homework. You talk to me, you're getting homework.
And it's important, right? It's one thing to learn about it, to hear about it, but you have to do it. The best way to learn is to do it.
Yeah.
Quote, unquote, Donna Sarkar.
You do the thing.
Yeah. And then for me, while I would love to do long form writing, for me, I love to do videos. Video is my thing. I have a lot of different videos out there. But again, it depends on the channel and the people I want to reach. The key thing here is whatever type of content and thought leadership, sorry I use that word, you have to stand out. You can't just regurgitate what's already out there. You have to have a point of view and advice, if you can, or tips or lessons learned to share. So for me, I love to do videos, right? So I have a series on LinkedIn called Chew and Chat. And the idea with Chew and Chat, because I love food as well, I would be eating something with a guest, and then somehow we'll tie it to modern workplace, right? You want to watch an episode? Yeah, let's watch this with...
Only Dux can make this look good. If I tried to do this, it would just end poorly. We've never done a Chew and Chat. I refuse to do it.
You'll just keep chewing.
I'll just keep chewing.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Chew and Chat with Dux and Shauna.
Yay! Hi everyone!
So for today, what are we having?
We are having Penang Char Kway Teow, the closest thing to Singaporean food because there is no actual Singaporean food here in Seattle, but close enough.
Okay, so
this is from Malaysia.
From Malaysia, okay, char kway teow. What is char kway teow? What is it made of? What are the ingredients? And how did this came about?
Yeah, I think it's just like a lot of different ingredients like fried noodle, there's seafood, there's egg, bean sprouts, and they just kind of like all toss them together and like cook it really well. And of course, a nice serving of chili.
Chili, yeah, you always have to have chili. So, looks like this is an awesome combination of a lot of different things, and it turns out really well and delicious, and it just works, right?
It does.
I mean, it reminds me of a lot of the initiatives you're driving around
diversity in tech and diversity inclusion. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, so when we talk about diversity in tech, it's really about bringing a lot of different cultures together, celebrating unique identities, and that's really our goal for Ignite. So kind of similar to this dish, everything is better together. Like when we bring in all these different flavors and perspectives, it really just brings out the vibrancy of the dish. And yeah, that's really what we want to do.
So Ignite's coming up. It's this big mega event, and I'm
Did that work? It worked, right?
Okay.
So thank you, Shauna.
Yeah. So one of the things you'll notice is just style, right? Both of us, we have similar backgrounds, we do similar things, but our style is completely different. He's wandering around the room, soon he's going to be doing some other weird stuff, and he loves video. You'll notice there's always video. He presents his work in video. In his sessions, there's always video. You're never going to attend a session with me alone where there's video. It's just, I'm not good at watching, I'm not good at creating, it will never happen. In my sessions, it'll be talking, pictures, homework, done. That's it. If you talk to me one-on-one, talking, pictures, video, or talking, pictures, homework, done. Whether it's written, whether it's a one-on-one, or whether it's 1 to 500, it's going to be exactly the same. And we highly recommend that you figure out what works for you in a one-on-one situation, and then apply that to the massive situation. A lot of people tell us that it's really hard to figure out my style. Like, how should I shoot a video? Or how should I give a speech? Or how should I write an article? And we say, imagine you're having a conversation with a friend, write that down, and there you go, that's your style. You already have a style, you use it all the time. And everyone who thinks you're writer's block, you don't, because you've never had talker's block. So write down exactly what you'd say to a friend, explaining a new concept, publish it, or say it out loud, or shoot a podcast, or I guess record a podcast, or shoot a video. You already know your style, so just get it straight in the head, and don't try to be something you're not. If I randomly decide I'm going to do video all the time now, it wouldn't be authentic, it would just be awkward and weird.
And that's very important. Remember the first step we talked about, identifying your superpower? You have to be authentic. You have to be authentic. You have to be you. So the next step, we talked about identifying your superpower, knowing your audience, delivering consistent value. Number 4 is you got to engage with industry peers. People of the same mindset, people of the same values, if possible, and also people that you want to learn from, because this will help expand your network from a career perspective, and it also provides you opportunities to facilitate connection. Remember, you're doing this not for yourself alone. Certainly you get value, but you want to help others out. It's a mutual benefit. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to connect with 10,000 people I see on LinkedIn because I'm a fanboy, fangirl kind of thing, right? So when sometimes people ask me, Dux, do you accept all connections at LinkedIn? No, right? Especially those recruiters who are trying to sell me stuff. But I want to have meaningful connections in relationships. So, like, I met you here, you all came here, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, say, hey, saw your session, would love to connect with you, learn from you, and vice versa. Awesome. So that's the intent, and always be learning from others. Boy, in the 5-6 years I've known Donna, I've learned so much from her. And I hope she's learned a few things from me too. So.
A few things. You'll notice what I did not learn from him, as you'll see later.
Yeah. So, can you share an example on how you think about connecting with industry colleagues or peers, or maybe your new family in the Power Platform family?
This is true. So I believe that it's extremely important to lead with vulnerability and a desire to learn. So I never go into situations saying, I know a lot about this. I go in saying, I know fuck all about this, and I'm going to lean on all of you to help me. And I did that with Power Plat as well, and we've got some lovely, Power Platypuses here in the front row. And my thing is to bring what I do uniquely different to the table. That's it. It's not to come in and say, I am the expert. It's to say, what are my superpowers? Back to pointing. I'm good at amplifying. I'm good at assigning homework. That's it, right? I'm not good at deep learning of a thing and then, teaching an organization how to adopt that thing. That's not my skill set. It's learning a thing, amplifying the thing, and assigning homework to other people to learn the thing as well. So when I engage with industry professionals, I use the exact same technique. And it doesn't matter for me who that industry professional is. It can be Tony Whitley, who's VP of the public sector at Microsoft, or whether it's someone brand new to the industry who's graduating college tomorrow. I use the exact same tone, I use the exact same tactics, and I use the exact same language when I'm talking to people about the exact same topic.
So for me, from my perspective, a couple of things I want to add. So in the picture, that's Jeff Teeper. In case you don't know Jeff Teeper, he is the father of SharePoint. He invented SharePoint. So through the years, I've met him, but I've engaged in a personal friendship with him. Wonderful person. And when I go to Seattle and visit with him for business meetings, I would always ask, "Hey Jeff, do you have a few minutes? Let's shoot a video and talk about the latest about SharePoint or what's coming, and then I'll post it out so people can know." Because oftentimes for an executive like that, right, the only time you'll hear from Jeff Teeper would be on stage in a big conference or some official press release. So I do that, and it's not just with Jeff Teeper. Anybody in the industry that I know can provide valued information to everybody else who wants to learn. And at the same time, he would talk to me about how are customers doing? Can you give me insights and feedback? Where are you hearing from user groups or events and whatnot? So I want to share one of the latest videos. And like I said, I'm a video type of person. I filmed with Jeff. So
Jeff Teeper's actually upper management type who has a strong personal brand. You'll notice many of the exec type people don't really have a personal brand. They have kind of a generic blog. It's just like they retweet company news. I find that boring. I don't think that's very personal. So Jeff Teeper really stands out, I think, as someone who has a very, very strong brand around community engagement.
Yeah.
So he's the one who will go to SharePoint Saturdays, give the keynote, and hang out the entire day. He'll sit in the front row. He'll tweet other people. He'll go up to people, engage with them. And he does this every month.
Yep.
Right? I've seen him do this at like 5 or 6 conferences,
Yes.
and I find it so impressive.
Yep.
And he's done that forever, apparently, since he was way early in career.
So here's what's the most recent interview I did with Jeff.
Very snappy video.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Dux Class. I'm here with the one and only Jeff Teeper. We're up here in the clouds. We are. After all day talking about the cloud, we are in the clouds. Hey, we gotta walk the talk, right? Yes, absolutely. So listen, it's been an amazing SharePoint conference here in Las Vegas, and
I still have to make it stand out, right? Who would want to watch me interview him in a conference room? So now he's like, where are we going to do it next, Dux? On a boat?
In space.
In space.
So you'll notice that the way Dux talks to Jeff Teeper is the way he talks to you. Right? His style is exactly the same. He'll interview you exactly the same way. And for me, when I had a chance to talk to Satya recently, the first thing I asked him was, "Have you built a Power App?" The first thing I asked him, and he's like, "Yes, Donna, I have." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I'll let it go. Otherwise, guess what I make him do? Do the tutorial and get his sticker. I'm not even kidding, because it's the way we talk to everybody. But that signals authenticity, and that's if you engage with industry professionals with authenticity, they trust you, they like you, and they know what to expect from you.
Do you know who hired Satya Nadella?
No,
Jeff Teeper.
that's funny. Actually, I think you told me.
So
This one is a very unique step. You made this up.
I want to ask something before I get into this. How's everything been so far? Has this been useful and practical?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So make sure you put that in the eval. So we talked about identifying your superpower. It's very important. We talk about knowing your audience, delivering consistent value, and engage with industry peers. The fifth one, I think, is the most important one. You have to meet people in their ownness. So what does ownness mean? I came across this term after I read this book. I encourage you, if you can grab this book, really good book. Ownness essentially is defined by Nilofer as each of us stands in a spot in the world where only you stand, a function of your history, experiences, visions, and hopes, which means everybody is unique. So what does that mean, Dux? What does that have to do with personal brand? When you're building a personal brand, you're connecting with people, you're also learning from people, you're hearing from people. You have to be open with everybody's perspective, right? The person Donna met in Lagos, Nigeria, who's a budding entrepreneur, shouldn't be less important or less special as Satya Nadella. All of us have something special to bring to the table as you engage and connect with people. Empathy is essential.
I'm not saying you have to agree with everybody, but pause and listen and learn from everybody else. Every day I wake up thinking, what am I going to learn today? And if I do learn something and I know other people will get value out of it, I'll make sure that I will share it with other people as well. You have to find common ground, right? Even at work, think about this. Oftentimes we have these stereotypes about people, where they're from, who they are, their generations. Oh, look at Sally. She's a smug because she's a Gen Xer. Well, did you know Sally is a single mom of 2? Who in the morning is struggling with trying to get her kids to school, go to work, get her job done, pick her kids up from daycare, make dinner, and work after putting her kids to bed, and do it over next day. What about that entitled millennial who keeps asking for a raise? Well, that entitled millennial is doing a good job, and did you know that millennials have the most debt in history ever of all the different generations? That entitled millennial wants a raise because he needs to pay off his school loan, his rent. He needs to buy dinner for next week. Take all these preconceived judgments about people, and you have to meet people in their own limits. Right? So, anything else around this?
There's homework. Just putting it out there.
See,
we really want you to do one thing. This is not just a here Dona Dux talk the hoss and they are situation. That's not the point at all. We both feel like idiots all the time, like all the time. When Dux is putting on something new, like a new kind of video, he's like, is this gonna work? What if everyone thinks I'm a moron? Whenever I write anything on LinkedIn, I'm like, this is the most obvious basic thing in the whole world. How do I feel that everyone already doesn't know this? And no one, 0 times in 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, has anyone said, this is stupid, this is irrelevant, this was not useful. No one has said it, 0 times. And we're on Twitter, so you know people would say it. You know people would say it. Whenever you're thinking about creating content, writing a post, doing anything, forget about that voice in your head that says, someone's already written this, someone's already shot this video, no one needs to know this, no one gives a shit about my point of view. Because your own onlyness matters.
100%.
There's nobody in the entire world who's had your experiences. It doesn't matter if you're working with the exact same tech as a million other people. No one in the world has had your experience of getting into the tech, learning the tech, mastering the tech, using it to solve your specific problems. So when you're creating content, come from it from your point of view. Open with, here's my history, here's my background, and here's my unique story, and here's how I do it. And here's some interesting takeaway for you that I thought was interesting for me. And when you showcase content in that way, from your point of view and your experience, suddenly it's your story that you're sharing with others to add value to them. So, homework.
So, what do you guys think? Is this helpful? Yeah. All right. So, are you ready to do these 5 steps? We need to give you homework. Who's ready? Raise your hand, please.
You're ready. Cool.
Who's ready? Okay, wait. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Okay, stand up. I need to show you these 5 steps.
Okay, wait. Stand up.
Stand up.
While you stand, this is a Dux homework he's going to make you do. There's a Dona one.
All right, let's start with my homework.
No, then don't run away.
No.
Okay, so mine is, I want you to connect with us on LinkedIn, and I want you to tell us what you want your personal brand to be, and I want you to tell us how we can help you.
Yeah.
Remember our skills. So mine is learn a thing, amplify a thing, give you homework. So if you need someone to kick your ass, I can do that. If you need someone to give you creative ideas on how to shoot video and showcase stuff, ask him. He's the marketing guy. Okay? If you need your ass kicked, me. If you need it to be nice and good, him.
So,
right?
so my formula is I teach you how to do stuff. We share stories, but I make you do the steps. All right? So I'll show you the steps first, and then I'll teach you. So watch how these steps will go.
I recommend you videos.
All right. All right, so
Dux and his children have skills.
Yeah, so
maybe not all of us have.
I had to, first of all, I love dancing with my kids. They teach me a lot of new TikTok moves. Yeah, we recorded this, so I said, okay, I'm going to teach people these steps, right? So step 1, what's step 1? Identify your superpower. So I want everybody to look to the right, like turn around, look to the right, look to the right.
This right, okay.
Raise your right hand. Raise your right hand, okay?
and then do like the axe chop 4 times. 1, 2, 3.
This is know your superpowers?
Yes, know your superpower. Know your superpower. All right, so that's step 1.
Know your
Good?
superpowers.
All right, axe chop, 4 steps. All right, and then step 2, with your hand to the side, okay, and then just swing it 4 times. Swing it 4 times.
What was step 2 again? Tell everyone step 2.
Step 2. What's step 2?
Okay.
Know your audience. Know your audience.
Know your audience. Know
All
your
right,
audience.
let's do step 2 again. Step 2, swing it, 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's step 2. Okay, so we're step 1, axe chop, 4 counts. Know your superpower. Step 2. Step 3 is deliver consistent value. And how you do that, so look at me. We're going to add something here. You will jump with your left foot, okay? Jump, and then just kick with your right. Okay?
No big deal, right? Yeah.
Okay, so, okay, jump with your left foot, kick with your right. All right? Good?
It gets harder.
All right, no. All right, we're not done with step 3. We're going to add something to step 3. Remember step 1 where you do the axe chop? Okay. Axe chop, jump, and then kick. All right? So let's try that. 4 count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. See? Everybody's better than you.
Everyone's better than me at this. My homework is better though.
Okay, step 4.
Yeah. All right.
Step 4 is kind of like step 3, but instead of axe chop, we're going to combine the hand swing with the jump and the kick. So step 4 is what? Connect with your industry peers. So let's do this. Connect with industry peers. So it's this hand swing and the jump and the kick. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay?
Good at this.
See, everybody's good.
How did they know?
All right, step 5 is the grand finale. We're going to combine everything, okay? Axe chop, jumping kick, and then hand swing, jumping kick. So total is just 8 counts, all right? So let's try that. I'm going to count to 8, all right? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, everybody's so good. All right, you ready? Okay, we're going to do this. No, we're not done. We're going to do it. I'm going to play the music,
Okay.
and you're going to do it, right?
Yeah,
Get your
you're done.
videos
Just
ready.
when you think you're done, you're not done.
All right.
You're not done at
1.
all. Okay, go.
All right, let's do this. All right, good job, everybody. Did you have fun? Well, thank you so much. Reach out to us,
Reach out.
and if you have questions, feel free to hang out. Enjoy the rest of Ignite the Tour London. Thank you.
Do your homework, not the dance.